Federal marshals call him Northeast Ohio's most dangerous fugitive. But last year, the Ohio Parole Board set convicted killer Marlon Ricks free.
Now he's wanted for murder again. Tonight, an exclusive 5 on Your Side investigation reveals the number of inmates being paroled is rising.
Well, the parole board says decisions to free violent inmates like Marlon Ricks are not driven by efforts to increase that parole rate. But records we found show in the first 6 months of this year, paroles have doubled.
In 2011, Ohio's parole board released 133 inmates. Marlon Ricks was one of them. Judy Coleman says that decision cost her daughter's life.
If Marlon had never been allowed to be there to meet her, that she might be alive today.
Less than a year after being released, Ricks is suspected of murder and is on the run.
I'm feeling that the board should be made to pay for releasing him and him taking my daughter's life.
It didn't take him long after he got out, and he snapped again, apparently.
Drew DeSerto oversees Ohio's Fugitive Task Force.
The crime that occurred this year in March, the stabbing, was brutal.
Danielle was stabbed 14 times. Her body found at this Garfield Heights home.
It was a brutal stabbing.
Brett Vinokur runs an Ohio watchdog group that monitors the parole board.
Is it your belief that the parole board is releasing dangerous inmates back into the community?
I'm absolutely 100% certain of it.
So 5 on Your Side reviewed parole board records. We found 138 inmates were released in the first 6 months in 2012, compared with just 62 released in the same period a year ago, up 122%. Records since June have not been released. Yet a check of the prison system's website shows Alfonso Johnson, convicted of killing a 16-year-old honors student, was granted parole just last month, despite objections from prosecutors who called Johnson a clear danger to society. Cynthia Mauser chairs the Ohio Parole Board.
No, there's no effort to attempt to increase the parole rate.
Even so, the prison system's own budget shows $188 million in cuts and a goal to reduce the prison population by 600 inmates by July of next year. A goal displayed on a tote board at prison headquarters. Still, Mauser insists inmates are paroled on a case-by-case basis after careful evaluation.
We review and attempt to receive and solicit as much information as we can about the individual case and the individual offender, and we try to get as much information as we can from all interested parties,
including letters. Cuyahoga County prosecutors advised that Ricks posed a clear danger and requested a full board hearing where the board was warned there exists substantial reason to believe that Ricks' release into society would create undue risk to public safety.
You can talk about Marlon or cannot talk?
No, we don't talk about specific cases.
So we obtained the parole board's records. It ruled that circumstances surrounding Ricks' murder, kidnapping, and aggravated assault was very unlikely to reoccur.
He is, like I said, I believe our most dangerous fugitive that we're seeking.
And sometimes families and crime victims have no idea that convicted killers have been released. In the Ricks case, the parole board provided notification. But when Paul Raymond Saltz was released for murdering 15-year-old Roberta Francis in 1974, her father was never contacted. Robert Francis learned of Saltz's 2004 release in the newspaper.
The parole board never called?
No.
Never asked you to come down to talk?
No.
Saltz molested another girl in 2006 and is back in prison.
Some of them just get kind of a slap on the wrist, you know, and they're up for parole again.
The parole board admits families and victims have been left in the dark.
That would not surprise me at all.
And with Saltz once again up for parole in January, Roberta's father will be ready.
You know, it takes a certain type of person to do that to a child. I don't think they're ever going to reach a place where you can allow them back on the street again.
Well, there's pending legislation right now called Roberta's Law that would improve how victims and family members are notified about parole. You can check out the link on newsnet5.com to learn a whole lot more on this, as well as this phone number, 866-4WANTED, to report any information you might have on Marlon Ricks, who remains a fugitive tonight. And those families need that kind of notification.
Certainly. Ron, are there any records that show the likelihood of reoffending?
There is. The parole board says that inmates in Ohio will recommit crime about 1/3 of the time and go back into prison, but they argue that that's one of the best rates in the country.
All right. Interesting.
Very
Ron, thank
eye-opening
you.
investigation. Thank you, Ron.